What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video here in the World of Juice channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Cleveland Browns retro rebuild here on Madden 21 on the PC. That's right, we're back. And today's episode is, as always, a banger. So without further ado, there's not really much to recap here. I mean, last episode was the off season. We did pretty good. We got some good draft picks. I feel good about this team. We are simulated into week number 3. We're ready to go. I think there's not really much to recap here in this little intro thing. So without further ado, make sure to smash that like button, notification bell, and the subscription button as well. Join the Juice Club. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Week number 3 of the 2028 season. Technically, the 2017 regular season, if you guys understand the series. But before I forget, I'm going to show you guys the 2018 draft class because I know that in the past couple of seasons, I've forgotten to show you guys until I started simulating, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to show you guys the draft class, and then I remember to do it. So without forgetting, I'm going to show you it first off the bat. So the 2018 draft class has guys like Baker Mayfield. It's got guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. There are some options at quarterback. Mainly Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I like Baker. I don't think he fits my system. But a Josh Allen would fit my system. Lamar Jackson obviously would fit my system because we had Robert Griffin III, and now we have Marcus Mariota. On the running back side of things, we don't really need a running back. I've scouted them just for the sake of scouting them. Saquon Barkley, obviously. Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, Ronald Jones, Darius Geis, who had some off-the-field issues in real life, so he didn't really play at all in the NFL, I don't think. Kerryon Johnson, Nyheim Hines, good running back draft class, at least at the top. It's very top-heavy. You got guys like Bo Scarborough, Justin Jackson, who are solid backup running backs. They're never going to be a starter, I wouldn't think. Phillip Lindsay is probably the exception to that because Phillip Lindsay just turned out to be a beast. Going to wide receivers, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, very solid wide receivers. Courtland Sutton, Christian Kirk, James Washington, DJ Shark, Michael Gallup, all good wide receivers. If you get down further, you got Valdez-Scantling, you've got St. Brown, Braxton Berrios is a decent wide receiver, Javon Wims is a decent wide receiver, Chad Beebe even is a decent wide receiver in the NFL now. Alan Lazard obviously is down here. Trey Quinn, Auden Tate. So it's probably a good thing that we don't need a wide receiver because there's not really that many quality wide receivers, I'd say. There's some that are very, very talented, but not any that I would take with a high pick. Tight ends, Hayden Hurst, Mike Gesicki, Dallas Goedert, Mark Andrews, all very, very good tight ends. We may end up taking one if George Kittle does not develop. There's our draft picks, at least the first 3 rounds of draft picks that we have. We have a lot of draft picks, let's just say that. And as we get further down here, Ian Thomas is good. Will Dissly's very good. Dalton Schultz is good. So there's some good tight ends later on that if we don't get a guy like a Mark Andrews or a Gesicki or something like that, we could get a guy like Dissly or Dalton Schultz down in the 4th and 5th rounds. I wouldn't be mad at that. Left tackles, Mike McGlinchey, obviously solid left tackle. Isaiah Wynn, solid left tackle. That's about it for left tackles here. Then we've got left guards where there's really not a lot. Wyatt Teller, probably the best one in this class. There's really not a lot here. Will Hernandez is fine. Connor Williams is fine too, but Teller is probably the best. Center, Frank Ragnow, very solid. Billy Price never really turned out to be anything. Bradley Bozeman's not the greatest, but he's there. Will Clapp, obviously very good player. Quentin Nelson, the shining star of the draft class, maybe the guy that we take because it's Quentin Nelson. We've got 4 first-round picks, I think, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got 4 first-round picks, so I think we could spend one on Quentin Nelson if we had the opportunity to. Nobody else really in the right guard class. Right tackles, Austin Corbett's fine. Orlando Brown's pretty good. That's about it for right tackles. On the defensive side, Marcus Davenport is pretty good. Sam Hubbard's solid. Josh Sweat is a decent backup. That's it for left ends. Right ends, Bradley Chubb, obviously solid player. Tyquan Lewis and Jalen Holmes are okay players. Deshaun Hand's decent. Not the best defensive end class. It's not the best pass rushing class in general. Vita Vea is the standout of the defensive tackles and probably the defensive line in general. Deron Payne's pretty good. You got Derek Nadi, who's pretty decent. Maurice Hurst, who's okay. That's about it for defensive tackles. Then you get to outside linebackers. Roquan Smith, solid. Darius Leonard, all-star potential. Lorenzo Carter, pretty decent. Fred Warner, amazing. The Shaquem Griffin, who's got one hand. I don't know why I had to mention that. I just thought it'd be funny. I don't know why I thought it'd be funny, but I did. It's okay if you have one hand. I think we target a guy like Darius Leonard or Fred Warner, mainly because we can get those guys late first round, early second round. So I think we pass on a guy like Roquan Smith and we go for somebody like Darius Leonard or Fred Warner. Plus, Fred Warner can play, obviously, middle linebacker because that's what he does in real life. Middle linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, Leighton Vander Esch. I mean, now we're at this point, we're getting into the it's so recent that the guys haven't really developed in real life to be able to decide whether they're going to be superstars. I guess at this point, like 2018, we're in 2021 now. I guess you can kind of figure out if these guys are going to be something or not because all these guys are probably coming up for contract extensions either this year or next year. So they're going to be done with their rookie contracts, and then they're going to be deciding whether these guys are big names and going to be worthy of a second contract. But when we get like to 2019 or 2020, obviously it's too early to tell in real life how good those guys are going to be. So we just have to go off gut instinct and what we know from their first couple of seasons in the league. Right outside linebacker, Rashaan Evans, Harold Landry, both very solid players. That's about it. Jacob Martin's okay. He's a pretty solid backup. That's about it for right outside linebackers. Like I said, the pass rushing class, not the best. Corners are pretty good. Denzel Ward, Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, Dante Jackson, all solid guys. Carlton Davis, pretty good. Anthony Everett's okay. He's not the best, but Trey Flowers is pretty decent. Who else is down here that's pretty good? J.C. Jackson's okay. Actually, J.C. Jackson might be one of the better corners in this draft. Looking back in hindsight. Who else is here? Is that it? Is that all the guys that are pretty good? Yeah, that's all the guys that are pretty good. Free safeties, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jesse Bates, Justin Reed, all top quality free safeties. Then you go down here, Jordan Whitehead, very good player. Armani Watts, good player. Once you get down further, Damon Webb is not the greatest. And then you move on to strong safeties. Derwin James, obviously one of the most hyped players in this draft class. He is a solid player. And then it's about it for there. Foyesade Olakun is just a meme, basically, thanks to MMG. And then other than that, there's not really. So it's really just Derwin James, and that's about it for the strong safeties. Kickers, Eddie Pinheiro. Is he the one? No, that's Cody Parkey. I was going to say, is he the one who did the double doink? But that was Cody Parkey. I remember that. Jason Sanders is actually a pretty decent kicker. We might take him because our kicker is Steven Gostkowski, and I think he's getting a little bit older. So maybe we snag Jason Sanders in like the late rounds. Then in punters, you got J.K. Scott, and that's about it. Johnny Townsend's okay. But that is the 2018 NFL Draft prospects. Now let's move on to the team, the Cleveland Browns team in 2017. We've got a 94 overall team, 96 offense, 92 defense. If we take a look at the squad, we've got Marcus Mariota at an 88 overall, but remember, we drafted Patrick Mahomes in this past offseason, so we're going to have Mariota start this season, have Mahomes sit behind him, and wait a year. Then this offseason, we trade Marcus Mariota, get as much value for him as we can, because he's still pretty young. He's only 23. So by the end of this season, he's probably going to be 24, I would assume. I don't know when his birthday is, but he's probably going to be 24. And he's going to have tons of value because by the end of the season, he's probably going to be 90, 91 overall, maybe even 92. So he's going to have tremendous value. And then we trade him to get so many draft picks or another player that I need at a position. Maybe we get another left guard or center. And then we just move on with Patrick Mahomes because he's already starting out at 75. So it's not going to take him too long to get up to where Marcus Mariota is, especially if he has all of next season to play and grow. At running back, we've got Todd Gurley, Zeke Elliott, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. We've got a stacked running back room. It's probably too many running backs, which is why I'm thinking we move on from Todd Gurley after this season, and then we run with Zeke, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. Wide receiver room, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham Jr., Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill. I think this is our final season with DeAndre Hopkins because we need to get other guys some time. So Devontae Adams only an 82 overall. At this point in 2018, in real life, he's probably close to a 90, 92 overall. So we need to get Devontae Adams caught up, along with Stephon Diggs, who's only a 78 overall. So we need to get him caught up. Michael Thomas needs to get caught up. So we'll move on with Odell as the number one. DeAndre will get traded because DeAndre's like 27, right? 25, so he's even young too. So we'll move on from Mariota and Hopkins this offseason. We'll get so much in return for those guys because they're super young and super good. So we'll have Odell as number one, Adams at number two, Thomas 3, Diggs 4, Tyreek 5, and then we'll get a receiver later, I guess. Offensive line, I did this in the preseason on accident. I was trading away some of the guys that I didn't need, and it went straight through. I was just throwing out like players that I could probably get that were younger on, I forget what team he was even on, and it happened to go through straight up it was 1-for-1, and I got Brandon Scherf. So he's our backup left tackle, and I don't want to move on from Joe Thomas because he's such a Browns lifer that I really would just like him to retire here. He's been here the entire series. He's 32 years old. I want to keep him around. Trent Williams we're going to keep around. Zach Martin, we're going to keep around, and we may move. Speaking of trading Marcus Mariota for a left guard, we may draft Quentin Nelson and then move him to left guard so that we have Joe Thomas, Nelson, Martin, and Williams, and then just we'll just have to get a center at some point. I'm not sure who the center's going to be. Tight ends, we got Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, and George Kittle. You guys know in the last episode I said I was going to make a package for George Kittle. It didn't really take that much because he's only like a 67 overall or something like that. So it didn't take a lot, and we got George Kittle on the team. On the defense side of the football, I am so happy with the way this defense has turned out after moving out, because you know how this series works. We like to bring in some pieces, and then once those pieces start to get a little bit older and we start to draft new pieces, we start to push away the original ones that we had. So it's a lot of shifting of moving parts. It's a lot of stuff going on around the team on both offense and defense. And now this used to be J.J. Watt, who used to be the defensive tackle. I don't remember. It wasn't Aaron Donald just yet. Was it Geno? I don't remember who the defensive tackle was. And then we had Cameron Jordan, obviously, and now it's Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, and Joey Bosa, 3 probably Hall of Famers in their own right in real life. So that's solid. On the linebacker side, we brought in Bobby Wagner. We've got Luke Kuechly, obviously. We still have Brian Arakpo, who's probably going to be his final season here, because we've got a guy like TJ Watt who can come in, and Jalen Smith who can come in also. We've also got James Laurinaitis. So our linebacking room is solid. We've got corners, Devin McCourty. We might move on from Devin McCourty because we've got solid corners in Stephon Gilmore, Byron Jones, Sherman, Tyrann Mathieu. So we've got solid guys. Although Sherman is 29. I didn't realize that. How old is McCourty? He's got to be 30, right? Yeah, so we're getting a little bit long in the tooth in those two guys. So it might be time for our younger guys. Gilmore's 26, so it might be time for those guys to take control. Free safety, Earl Thomas. He's got to be up there, right? 28. Then we got Adrian Amos, and we drafted... who did we draft? We drafted... Was it Eddie Jackson? Did we take Eddie Jackson? I can't remember who we drafted, but there's a third free safety in there. And then, oh no, it was John Johnson. It was John Johnson that we took. And then strong safety, you got Harrison Smith and Jamal Adams. So whenever Harrison Smith comes up for another contract, probably I'll move on to Jamal Adams. I'm not really sure when we move on from Jamal Adams, but this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl and not get embarrassed by the Titans. I think I did a pretty good job of retooling this offense and defense to make it worthy of not getting embarrassed by the Tennessee Titans again, like we did in the playoffs last year. We're not going to really think about that because we got to move on to the next season where we are 2-0 and hopefully make it back to the playoffs. We haven't missed the playoffs at all since that first season. I think that first season we missed the playoffs, and then from then on we've made the playoffs every single year. So we are looking very good. We got a contract extension as our coach in the offseason. I think it was a 3-year extension. So now we are set, ready to go for our 6th Super Bowl trophy. Smash that like button if you are excited. Hit that notification bell, subscription button, and join the Juice Club. And let's get simulating. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Week 17, and as you can see, this season has been very kind to us. We are 13-2 on the year. Fantastic. That is good enough for the number 1 seed in the AFC, and hopefully either win or lose. I hope that's good enough to keep the 1 seed. I guess we could check real quickly if we check not the stats, the standings. Let's check the standings real quick. 13-2, is that good enough for the number 1 seed, win or lose? No, it is not. So if we lose to the Giants, then the Titans, if they win, they could jump us to that number 1 seed. So we have to win against the Giants here. Taking a look at the team before we head into this game, we've got Marcus Mariota up to a 91, 93 with the 2 boosts. Everybody's got +2 or around a +2, +3 morale. DeAndre Hopkins is a 99. Everybody's growing very well. Mahomes is up to a 78, which is why I'm thinking it's good enough to move him or to keep him as the backup and then make him the starter next year. We've got Joe Thomas obviously doing very well. Trey Turner's doing good. Zach Martin, Trent Williams, everybody's growing. Even George Kittle's up to a 72, 73 with the morale boost. Moving on to the defensive side, Aaron Donald's a 92. Myles Garrett's an 87 as a rookie. That's crazy. And Joey Bosa's an 84. Devin McCourty, 87. Earl Thomas is a 99 with the boost. This team's good. This team is very, 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 very good. Okay, it's very good. So, why is hold on? Let me go to not this. Let me go to the depth chart real quick and check why Tyreek Hill is only a 19 overall as a kick returner. Hold on. Why is he a 19 as a kick returner? No. That is not right. Hold on. Tyreek Hill is only fast. So let's go in and change that. I don't know why he's a 19 overall kick returner. That is not even remotely true about him. Kick return. No, why does he have a 1? No, Tyreek Hill is only fast. That doesn't affect his overall at all. He's going to be a 99 kick returner because he's got some speed. I don't think that's cheating. I think that's facts because it's Tyreek effing Hill. So it doesn't move his overall up at all. So that's good. And now if we go back to this, it should say he's a 99 special teamer. Area 98, 97, whatever. It works. That's how it should be because it's Tyreek Hill. And when he was just young, all he could do was run. So before he developed really into a good passer or a good pass catcher. But a couple more things before we get into the game. I want to look over the stats and the awards, obviously, in case I forget later on. Marcus Mariota, in his 2nd season as a starter, he has 4,200 passing yards, 44 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Todd Gurley's got 241 rushes, 1,100 rushing yards on the dot. That's crazy. 13 touchdowns. Zeke's got 643. Receiving, no 1,000-yard receiver, but Hopkins got pretty close, 969. Nice. And 9 touchdowns. Gronkowski had 12 touchdowns. Devontae Adams had 12 touchdowns. On the defensive side, another 100-plus tackle season for Luke Kuechly. He is an absolute animal. On the defensive side, Aaron Donald, 16 sacks. Myles Garrett, 10.5. No wonder he's up to an 87 overall. On the interception side, Earl Thomas, 4. Sherman, 4. Kuechly, 3. Devin McCourty, 3. Gilmore, 2. Laurinaitis and Byron Jones all had 1. Now let's go to defensive touchdowns. Devin McCourty may have had a pick 6. That's pretty cool. Forced fumbles. McCourty and Earl Thomas both had 1, and we only recovered 1 of them. Earl Thomas did. We had 1 block kick and no safety, so I'll take it. I will take that all day and twice on Mondays. So 6 of 7 for Steven Gostkowski, which is why I'm thinking we move on from him and go to Jason Sanders. He had a 55-yarder, 71 of 71 on extra points as well. And then we go to the yearly awards. If I can get my cord all not tangled up down there. Robert Griffin III, possibly back-to-back MVPs. Congratulations to him. He's probably winning back-to-back MVPs. Then we got Marcus Mariota for the second straight season, finishes as the, or not finishes, but probably will finish as the runner-up. Coach of the Year is Kyle Shanahan. Once again, we get shafted and not given Coach of the Year, even though we are the best team in the league. On the AFC side, Marcus Mariota wins he's going to win his second straight Offensive Player of the Year. CJ Mosley is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year probably goes to Mitchell Trubisky, which is a little bit crazy. Look at this one, too. Mitchell Trubisky, DeShone Kizer. That is a crazy Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, you would assume is Myles Garrett, and it is. Best quarterback, Marcus Mariota. Best running back, Marshawn Lynch. Todd Gurley finishes in 4th. Best wide receiver is Golden Tate. And Matthew Slater up on number 2. I think he won it one year, if I'm not mistaken. DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams both finished lower down the poll. Then we got Joe Thomas as the best offensive lineman. Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman. CJ Mosley is the best linebacker. Best defensive back is Desmond Southward, who I don't honestly know who that is. But I might be mistaken. I don't know who that is. We got 3 guys that finished in the best defensive back. And then Mike Nugent wins best kicker with Gostkowski coming in runner-up. So that is the AFC Player of the Year, the AFC Awards for the year. We might finish with the first offense, and it's not going to show us what the defense is. So with all that out of the way, there's only one more thing to talk about, and that is contract extensions. Devin McCourty is up for a contract extension, and we just took a look at his stats. He had a pretty solid season, but I think it's time. I said this in the beginning of the episode. I think it is time to move on from Devin McCourty because we got so much good talent sitting behind him that's not getting a lot of playing time, like Tyrann Mathieu. Sherman's not really getting a lot of playing time. He had a decent season here, but he could have had a better one if he had even more playing time. So we maybe move on from Devin McCourty. We might not get a lot for him because he's 30 years old, but he is 96 overall, so maybe that counterbalances it. I don't know. We'll move on from Steven Gostkowski. The only reason I haven't signed him is because I'm not 100% sure if I want to move on from him. I know that we're not going to be able to trade him away because you can never really trade kickers away for anything valuable. So even a high overall kicker like that at 85 overall. So I probably will keep him on the roster. Like, I may sign him to a contract and then keep him on the roster and then still draft Jason Sanders. Because also we have Will Lutz on the practice squad. So we've got a couple different options at kicker if we somehow can't get Jason Sanders. But I probably will sign Steven Gostkowski to a contract and then either just, like, add him to a trade. Maybe we add him into the Devin McCourty trade just to get him away, just to get rid of him without having to trade him by himself. I'm not interested in bringing back Brian Rakpo. I'll probably trade him. Trey Turner is the only one that's really interesting to me because I mentioned that scenario where we draft Quentin Nelson and then we move him to left guard, so we wouldn't really need Trey Turner, so that's why I haven't negotiated with him yet. We may trade him. Johnny Manziel we're not going to bring back because he's asking for $25 million as a third-string quarterback. I don't think so, my guy. You're not getting that much money. And then Corey Linsley has had a pretty decent season as a starting center and has grown to a 70 overall, but I'm not going to bring you back. I may bring you back in free agency if nobody's offering you anything, but for right now, for $10 million, I'm not bringing you back. So that's the state of the contracts and the state of the players that are needing a contract. I think that's everything that we needed to talk about. I don't think there's anything. Oh, one more thing I do want to take a look at, because I personally haven't even looked at it. What are our draft picks looking like this season? We have the 20th pick from the Vikings, the 27th from the Houston Texans, the 28th from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the 32nd, which is ours. So the teams that we traded with last year all had pretty good seasons, which is upsetting because I was hoping we get at least a top 5, top 10 pick from one of these 3 teams. That's not the case. And none of those picks are good enough to take Quentin Nelson. I wouldn't assume. If we go into the Scout College players, Quentin Nelson is ranked number 6 in the class. So I wouldn't assume he'd be there at 20. So we're going to have to do some finagling. Maybe Devin McCourty's good enough to get us a first-round pick. Maybe Trey Turner, because he's still young. Maybe he's good enough to get us a first-round pick. I don't know. But enough jibber-jabber, enough recap. It's time to play the New York Football Giants at home, 13-2, hopefully 14-2. Smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and the subscription button as well. Join the Juice Club. Let's go play the football team. Not that football team. You know what football team I'm talking about. All right, we start out here in the red zone, the 16-yard line. Gonna hand this off to Todd Gurley, who gets absolutely destroyed on that play by Dante Hightower. That's not promising. I'm gonna have to get away here. Marcus Mariota throw on the run is not very accurate. Gronkowski had a step on him. There was a possibility Gronkowski catches that touchdown if that ball was a little bit more accurately thrown by my main man, Marcus Mariota. But luckily, Zeke Elliott broke out the side, and Zeke scores. I didn't realize his number was 38. I'll probably have to change that. But that's a big passing touchdown to start this game. And there was some pressure. The Giants got a good defense here. They pressured me on all 3 of those plays. So our defense just continues to put a pounding on the Giants in this early going of the game. We are already up 14-0, and I might be able to swindle my way into the end zone, and that's just called user swerve right there as Marcus Mariota scores a touchdown, and it's 21-0, hopefully, after the extra point. But our defense just keeps turning over the Giants. It's going to be a pretty easy game. So at this point, it's 28-7, early third quarter here in Cleveland. And if we score one more time, we may be getting a chance to see Patrick Mahomes and our future. DeAndre Hopkins out there. It's probably who I'm looking to throw to, although Gronk is wide open right here. Just take the little check down, might as well get it. All right, so our first look at Patrick Mahomes. And just by the judging right here, it doesn't look like the actual Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what happened with their in-game model. Pass interference. They called pass interference on that play? That's weird. It's just 2 yards. I'll take the 2 yards, I guess. It doesn't, if I get real close, it doesn't really look like Patrick Mahomes in the in-game model. It's the same way that Odell Beckham doesn't look like Odell Beckham. I don't know what happened with the modders, why they couldn't get Patrick Mahomes. He looks good in the in-game. I guess I haven't seen a close-up of him, so I don't really know. But we get to see our future Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to have to run this one away. Yeah, I don't have anything on that one. They had the opening right there on the left. I was going to roll to my left and score, but they covered that. This touchdown probably seals it. It's probably already over, but this touchdown seals it with Davante Adams. Perfect catch. Tiptoeing his way into the end zone. Patrick Mahomes, I think, scores his 2nd touchdown of the season because he scored one during the simulation, but I think that's his 2nd touchdown, at least first by us. All right, so I know this has been all offense. These highlights have been, but I mean, there hasn't really been anything to show you on defense. This Giants team has been, oh, that's annoying. I should have had a touchdown there. This Giants team just really hasn't had much. All right, so we continue to win. We keep that number 1 seed, and we guarantee ourselves the first seed in the playoffs. Marcus Mariota in this game, 25-36, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Patrick Mahomes went 1 for 3, 2 yards and a touchdown, so at least he got a touchdown in the game. Todd Gurley, 20 carries, 68 yards, no touchdowns. Marcus Mariota had that awesome 20-yard run for a touchdown. Receiving touchdowns, Davante Adams caught 4 receiving touchdowns, and Zeke caught 1. That's crazy. 150 yards and 4 touchdowns for Davante Adams. That's got to be close to a record for us. Harrison Smith led everybody with 7 tackles. Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald both had 2 sacks, and then DeForest Buckner adds a third on there, or a fifth on there technically. Luke Kuechly got an interception. Luke Kuechly's dominating interceptions. He is a beast at getting interceptions. I would assume he took it back to the house. He did not take it to the house for a pick 6. We had 6 for 6 on extra points and no field goal attempted. Punting doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill didn't have any kick returns, and he had 3 punts, but nothing really major happened in them. So that is the final game of the regular season. We got to see a little taste of Patrick Mahomes, what we are in store for probably the rest of the series as his starting quarterback. And now we can go and simulate the final week of the season, the rest of the games, and then simulate the wild card, and then we'll finish out the video on the divisional round. So we've got to go up against the Houston Texans in the divisional round of the playoffs of the next episode. As a look for the rest of the playoffs, the AFC playoffs, the Chargers were beat by the Jets. So for the first time in what feels like forever, we won't have the opportunity to play the Chargers in the postseason. We will either play the Jets or the Colts, if we beat the Texans, which they upset the number 2 seeded Tennessee Titans, which is absolutely crazy. So our revenge tour, I guess, has to wait another season because we don't get a chance to play the Titans in the postseason to get our revenge on them for just absolutely embarrassing us in the AFC Championship game last year. But this does make it a lot easier. Our path to the Super Bowl is looking very, very good to get back to it, obviously, because all the low seeds won. The 7 seed won, the 6 seed won, and the 5th seed won. So all the high seeds lose in the playoffs, which is crazy. That rarely ever happens. So now it's Browns, Texans, Jets, Colts. Over on the NFC side, it's Buccaneers, Rams, and Bears, Giants. If it's a Browns-Bears Super Bowl again, I'm going to freak out because that's going to be crazy. There's definitely a possibility for that. But that is going to do it for this video. We finish off this video and finish off the regular season as a 95 overall, 97 offense, and 93 defense. That defense is just going to keep on growing as Joey Bosa grows, Aaron Donald grows, Myles Garrett grows, and all the other young guys start to grow and get higher overalls. So we are looking very good for this season and beyond. So make sure you smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and the subscription button as well. Join the Juice Club. The playoff special will be the next video you see from this series, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. Make sure to smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!